Where was this meeting? What was it about?
This meeting was back in the summer of 2021 at Trump's Bedminster Golf Club. And among the people in attendance were several Trump aides and two people working on an autobiography of Mark Meadows. Now, Mark Meadows was not in attendance at this meeting, but during this time, Trump was in the habit of having his aides record any conversations with journalists, writers, or people working on books. Now, sources tell us that on this tape, Trump says that he has a classified Pentagon document describing a possible attack on Iran. We're also told that you can hear paper rustling. It appears that he might be waving something around, though it's unclear if he's waving this document that he's referring to or if he's waving something else. Now, perhaps more importantly for investigators, on this recording, you can hear Trump suggest that he would like to share this information with the people he's speaking with, but he acknowledges that there are limits to his power to declassify post-presidency. And as one source told me, that is a real problem.
That's a real problem because it undercuts his entire argument. Caitlin, what are investigators doing now that they have this recording?
Well, Jake, they're building up an investigation around it. So they have this audio recording. They were able to get it. And that is a very crucial piece of evidence that we're told is quite important. Many people have said it's very important in this investigation at this stage. We do know that they have also brought in people to talk to about this document and also about the recording itself, about this meeting at Bedminster. One of those people we saw going into the grand jury recently, and we're able to confirm that that person was in the meeting at Bedminster that we're talking about here. But I should be very clear, we have not heard what this audio recording is. It is something that the Justice Department has. They clearly have heard, and it's quite substantial for him. What we've been able to do is reconstruct what we can understand about what Donald Trump is saying there, or at least implying when he's holding up a paper and shaking it around.
And Paul, just spell it out as clearly as you can for us why this is such an important, potentially such an important piece of evidence as seen through the lens of the classified documents investigation.
Well, the former president and his attorneys have given varying, at times conflicting explanations for why he was not intentionally retaining classified materials. One of the explanations he gave at the town hall. Let's take a listen to what he said.
No, I don't have anything. I have no classified documents. And by the way, they become automatically declassified when I took them.
So there he's saying it was automatic. His allies have also suggested that he had a standing declassification order. He also told Fox News that he declassified things with his mind, but his lawyers told Congress that, in fact, he had classified materials because it's very chaotic at the end of an administration and they didn't realize that they were there. But what he is heard saying on this recording undercuts all of those explanations.
And Caitlin, why was Donald Trump so eager to talk about this document, this alleged document about an attack on Iran?
Well, Jake, at this point in time, Donald Trump was quite angry because there were a lot of books coming out after his presidency about what happened in the last days of his presidency. And right at this July meeting, right before it, Susan Glasser at The New Yorker had published a story that said that Trump's Joint Chiefs of, the chairman of the Joint Chiefs of Staff, Mark Milley, had basically argued to Trump that he could not bomb Iran. He wanted to bomb Iran. And so in this circumstance, Donald Trump is trying to tell Milley, or trying to tell the people that are in the room, that he has a document that would undercut Milley, that there is something that would discredit Milley's idea that he was trying to talk Trump out of bombing Iran. And so in his book, Mark Meadows, who was not in the meeting, but there were two people working on Meadows' book for him in this meeting, Meadows writes about exactly what Trump was recalling at this meeting. He says Trump recalled a 4-page report typed up by Mark Milley himself. It contained the general's own plan to attack Iran, deploying massive numbers of troops. And so the Justice Department is looking into what happened around that document itself, this document with Mark Milley. That may be the classified document that they're trying to trace, as well as what happened in this meeting, as Donald Trump's acknowledging he hadn't declassified it, and that he couldn't after the presidency.
So in the world, according to Trump, this is a document from Milley that shows that Milley was the one that wanted to attack Iran, not him, and that disproves a claim that was made in the Susan Glasser article.
Or at least some sort of plan from the Pentagon on this is how you would go about attacking Iran.
Interesting. Caitlin and Paula Reed, stick around. I want to bring in CNN chief legal analyst and former federal prosecutor Laura Coates as well as CNN senior legal analyst Emily Honig, who's a former assistant U.S. attorney. Laura, how significant could this recording be, do you think?
It's extraordinarily so. And excellent reporting, ladies, on this very important matter, because it's the question that everyone wants answered. What did he know and when did he know it? The idea of did he and was he aware that he was not able to retain classified documents? Well, you can check that off the list for a variety of reasons. Did he know that there was a declassification procedure? Of course he did. Did he intend to do so and retain it, even though he was aware that the NRA, the NARA actually wanted it back? Absolutely. And so all you have now is the investigation trying to prove the thing that normally eludes you, somebody's intent. You have intent, if this is reporting is true, intent that this actually did happen. For Jack Smith and his team, you have an otherwise clear-cut case, documents in someone's possession, ought to be returned. Was there intent? This suggests that there was. It's a very streamlined prosecutorial proof model.
And Ellie, sources say that prosecutors have asked witnesses about this recording and asked them about this document on Iran in front of the grand jury. How does this piece of evidence fit into whatever larger case is being built here?
Well, Jake, this is a very big deal for prosecutors, and I think a very big problem for Donald Trump and his team for a couple reasons. First of all, prosecutors love tapes, because if you have a subject on tape, that's his own words, that's his own voice. The defense can't say, well, some witness is sort of fudging the truth. It also establishes some basic things the prosecutors need to establish. One, knowledge. Trump knew he had these documents. Two, intent. He was going to use them or potentially refer to them as it suited his strategic needs. That goes to his intent. And third, this whole claim that he declassified, well, here he is in 2021 after he's left office saying these are still classified, so I can't show you. So it shows not only that he didn't declassify, but that he's been lying about it in public. So this is crucial evidence for prosecutors.
And Paula, what's more important here, the fact that Trump retained this classified material, we know in this instance it's this document about Iran, or the tape in which it seems to establish that he had the document and he knew he couldn't share it?
Look, it's all problematic. I mean, the fact that he's admitting that he has this classified document, he's retained it, he's discussing it in a public setting, but the fact that he admits that there are limitations to his ability to classify post-presidency, I mean, I was expecting some pretty serious court bites, some unprecedented constitutional questions. I'm sure you guys were looking forward to that too, about his powers post-presidency, things we've never really contemplated before. This recording undercuts all of that, and he also admits that he knows he has this document, which gives him no room to argue that, like President Biden or former Vice President Mike Pence, he had no idea and things just got packed up inadvertently. It's a huge problem.
By the way, this is the first time, thanks to your reporting, that we know at least some part of the substance of these documents. Up till now, we've seen the photographs of the cover sheets. There's been a lot made about the fact, oh, this is just a cover sheet that was out there. It was actually anything inside there. Now we know the substance, at least in part of one document, and the severity of it. No wonder why there is conversation surrounding the unlawful disclosure of very secretive information, the potential diplomatic storm that could actually result from all of this, and the idea that he was aware of it, that he knew the consequences of it and was offering to look at it nonetheless and to undercut somebody of a high-ranking authority in our own government, shocking.
So the chairman of the Joint Chiefs, General Mark Milley, is still the chairman of the Joint Chiefs. Do we know if prosecutors have asked him about this?
Yeah, our reporting team with Caitlin Collins as well, we were able to confirm that General Milley has been questioned by investigators. And we also know that the prosecutors on this special counsel investigation, they also have been asking questions about Donald Trump's anger around Mark Milley, and also if there are other circumstances where he may have wanted to show documents like this or had documents. Now, we don't have the answer to why Donald Trump still had this, but whenever you look at the course of what we are revealing here and what this investigation is doing, one of the things the prosecutors really need to nail down is whether Donald Trump knew he had this classified document, and if he's talking about Milley and he's waving around something and he's referring to a document he has from Milley, that's quite important.
Ellie, if you were on Trump's defense team, how might you defend this recording?
So that's a tough one, Jake. I think, first of all, they're going to want to see the actual transcript and the recording itself. They may try to parse the words. There may be a creative argument that, well, he didn't legitimately think he was doing anything wrong, because if so, why would he talk about it in front of these writers, these reporters. I said it's creative. One thing I do want to stress, though, one important aspect of Paula and Caitlin and the team's reporting is that Trump's own team made these recordings at his request. There's really sort of shades of Nixon there. And New Jersey is what we call a one-party state, meaning that as long as one party to the conversation approved the recording, then those recordings are going to be legal and potentially admissible against him.
And Laura, reading the tea leaves of where Jack Smith is going in his investigation, it had seemed as though he was possibly only going to go after the obstruction of justice charges. But this would suggest a broader, theoretically, a broader case.
Intent is really the final puzzle for peace for any prosecutor. It's the hardest thing to prove because you can't get into the mind of the person you're targeting. But it also makes it a broader case, you're right, away from obstruction and now about the disclosure of information, also about other more expansive. Is this document that was waved around purportedly, do they actually now have it? Or is it a part of another trove that is yet to be uncovered? It is expanding.